welcome to the Old World Fanatics again, your Warhammer Fantasy podcast to quench your hobby thirst for all things the Old World. I'm one of your hosts, Gomo, and I'm joined once again this week by Andrew and Josh. How is everyone? Even though I just talked to you a few days ago.
Good.
Pretty well.
Yeah, we thought we'd this one's going to be a quick one. Hey, well, quick compared to our other ones. We did think just to get back on after Nova Open, and we were pretty excited about it. And I think we all saw we got what we thought we might get anyway. Like, even though we were excited, but I think we had our expectations fairly tamed.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's
Yep,
not
this
too
is
bad. But
about
look,
what I expected.
before we dive into it,
Yeah.
do we want to cover anything that we have done since in the last 3 days? I don't think there's a whole lot, but I know Andrew and myself are going to try squeeze a game in tomorrow.
Yeah. I just finished the list.
The scheming.
My scheming was going. It was going good, and then I realised that I couldn't quite fit in what I wanted to with my points, so I had to just bring it back a bit, bring the scheming back.
That's cool. Actually, I did do my list up the other day. Now I have to find it again, so I'll get it over to you before you play. But yeah, it's not much, as I said, it's not much different.
Yeah, I'll post mine tomorrow, and I'll try and get a picture up of my army. I've got sort of most of it there. I've just got to get some other infantry together. The unknown unit.
Cool. Wow, this is a surprise.
Yeah. I'll get that
Yeah,
picture
that'll
out
be good,
anyway.
Yeah. Hobby wise for me, obviously for the game, I'm just trying to, as I said, whatever it was, Monday, Tuesday, I was just trying to get a Tomb King on a chariot done, which he's mostly base coated. I need to do. I'll probably only get him base coated and shaded. Not shaded, washed, but that's about it. And then I've got 20 new archers washed, but not really highlighted. But they'll look good enough. I didn't like the fact that when we played last time, Andrew, I hadn't got everything painted, so hopefully I will. By tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I got some pretty average looking units. I'm not too happy with myself. So
they look fine.
Yeah.
Well, the ones I've seen look fine.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Just don't bring it up too close.
Yeah. Tabletop standard.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. We will.
Yeah.
We're planning on taking some battle report pictures, and then maybe in our next episode I don't know if there'll be video. We don't know how we're going to handle video yet. But I'm sure, we want to try to keep the listeners entertained, whether or not we describe it. I think Josh is going to probably interrogate us or something like that.
Yes.
We're planning on next week or something.
Yeah.
So we'll see how we go.
Interrogate, that's the right word.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What were you thinking?
But I did get a new gaming map that we can try out and stuff. So a few little pieces of scenery just to start. As I said, I'm trying to replace some of my 25-year-old, rocks and stuff that I built when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
So, get through that slowly. Cool. Yeah, Josh, is there anything you wanted to?
Not really. I did work a little bit on some terrain the other day. Some really old sort of resin bits that I had sitting around for years. But I think I'll talk about that next week. I think during our weekly one. Yeah.
It's anything like the terrain you've been posting on Instagram, man. That's crazy. It's awesome.
Just wish you guys could use it.
Yeah.
Frustrating,
but
yeah.
We'll do a weekend trip to Melbourne one day, or vice versa, or something.
Yeah, I reckon. Cool. Yeah.
I'll do my first ever trip on a plane with my figures, or maybe I'll just drive down. I don't know. After your experience, Josh, last time, you scared me.
Oh, at the airport, yeah. Well, that was Sydney Airport. I feel like Newcastle Airport are going to be a bit more relaxed. One would hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sydney was. I was like, pretty much. Yeah. To go into it, they at the security, like Melbourne's been pretty relaxed about it. Both times I've gone through Melbourne Airport, they're just like, oh, what's in the box? And open like just one of the little boxes at the top, and they go, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, the rest of it's the same. Bottom, I can get the whole thing out. But Sydney Airport, they were like, okay, sir, I need to open your box. You're not allowed to touch it. I got to get the whole thing out, and he's like pulling everything out. It's all going everywhere. And then he's like got all the boxes and he's like cradling it on his arm, and he's like, I have to go check this with the scanner guy. So he's wandered off with them all. I'm like, oh my god, if he drops everything, it's going to be nightmarish. And then they put it all through the scanner again, all unpacked. I'm like, what the hell, guys? And then it was all fine in the end. I could fly and stuff, but I just had to put it all back. It was a bit. unexpectedly unfriendly.
It's worse enough
whereas-
when you take laptops and all that stuff, you know, and you're putting your belts back on and all this stuff, and you're trying to pack 50-something figures back together or something. That sounds like a nightmare. Oh, God. Anyway, that's we'll get to that hopefully. Well, maybe we won't if we ever get down there. So cool. Okay. Well, I mean, look, the only other thing is, I mean, the big thing is just Nova. I guess you know, there was people don't know Nova Open in Washington, D.C., I think it was, and they just did another one of their reveals. And like we sort of guessed on Tuesday, it was probably just going to be figures. Like I thought, you know, it's too visual to do anything, you know, rule-based and stuff. And so I guess that's what we got. And I think everyone who's listening to this has already seen it, but we want to get our reaction. So do you want to, I'm sharing my screen up here and I might be able to post that on YouTube with the podcast. We'll see how we go. Do we want to just run down it and then stop more on the old world stuff? Because I think it's worth covering some of the other figures as well.
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, that was some good,
sure.
some good stuff in there.
I don't know about you guys, but I mean, like I'm getting into 40K. I mean, I probably don't go into it too much here, but I did buy a bunch of orcs because I love orcs, as most people would know. But I've never got Space Marines, and there's a lot of Space Marines. And I was just like, okay, yep, you just showed the same thing again. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Did you want to go? Is there any of those things that? I mean, the chaplain dude looked pretty cool, but I mean, at the same time, to me, it's Space Marines.
Yeah, I couldn't tell the difference. Like I remember the one I was watching was like a live one with commentary, and old mate's going into the Space Marine stuff, and I'm like, yeah, it looks the same as every other edition, you know, past maybe fourth.
If
or
anything,
fifth,
I mean, knowing a little bit that they're Primaris, however you say it, at least they all now do look the same. Whereas I think if you put the Primaris with the old ones, they looked out of whack. But it seems like that they're starting to look the same.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, look, well, I mean, I'll just skim them over. We'll just go into the next ones unless you really want to talk about anything.
No.
So the big Troggoth, this was in a rumor. I thought this was coming. This Troggoth King. What did you think of him? I'll bring him up on.
He looks quite strange for me. Like he's got that big
that's the Slann thing? It looks like something from.
Yeah, he's got some magic because the guy was talking about. He's got some magic thing on his back.
Oh, can you see it from the back?
Somehow, I don't know if it's like fused into him, and basically is going around trying to destroy all these other magic items. Like
so that could be an actual Slann or whatever they're called, some magic
like
gateway
an arcane
thing.
engine.
Yeah.
Okay.
And basically, apparently, he whacks it, and it does like random magic.
Oh, that's right. They said something. Oh, hang on. Now I'm thinking of someone else. So different. Different rule.
So yeah, old mate uses a little bomby knocker thing and whacks it, and then it's just like this. Yeah, apparently some random magic, and then obviously I'm guessing you just roll, and that's the effect.
I mean, I like the look of him, but I mean, obviously we'd use him in. I guess you could. Maybe still too big. I mean, the orc. There was I think it's only an 1/8, whatever. You know that big, the Hag Queen, whatever it was called from Forge World.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's something that you could. I mean, you could, providing it was a similar base size. But this thing would be huge.
I like the old troll look, and they've changed the troll look.
Yeah.
I don't like the new.
I
look
love
as
these
much
dead
as
skeletons
the
on the back of the thing. Like the armor looks so ancient.
Yeah.
Looks cool.
Yeah, like all the details, fantastic.
It's
isn't it?
There's a lot going on though, and it's a bit hard to know.
Yeah, what
the focus is on the model really, like just massive horn stuff going on top of his head. It's like it's a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, whatever this thing is. Hang on, you can see it from the front. This thing almost looks like that wood elf. You know that other thing they did, a big wood elf. Something, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, cool. Well, that's probably nothing that we're going to be using in Old World or whatever.
It definitely, you could say it's lizardman or wood elf. Like, it definitely fits that description, doesn't it?
And then we hit the I think we were mentioning this again this week, where I heard a rumor that the old Black Hawk's coming back to Old World, and then they've finally sort of refreshed them. I mean, look, I like the look at the Ard Boys and Black Hawks in general. I think they've done most. I know it's funny, this squig thing, and it is funny that it's his anvil, but I don't really rate the figure. It looks a bit weird. It's not my cup of tea, but I do like the actual overall. I like what they've done with them.
Old mate,
Or actually, I should say, I don't know, what do you guys think of these guys? Which, sorry, for people who are listening, the Brute Rangers and the
Yes.
Weird Brute Wreckers. So these are the half-naked black Ard boys, I should say, for the people
Yeah, they look
following
pretty
along.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're nice and dynamic, pretty clean. Weapons are large, but I think that fits their sort of style. Yeah. I don't mind.
Yeah. The masks look a little bit
I didn't
weird
mind
for
this
me, but
this weird one.
Oh,
The
the
guy on the
mask
left,
guys.
I'm
Yeah.
figuring you could use his head for some cool conversions, like put him on something else. But yes,
yeah.
they look sort of like a bit B&D-ish or something, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, the mask guys look, yeah, pretty intense.
Yeah.
Something out of Pulp Fiction.
Uh,
Yeah. The only thing is, I don't know. Okay, well, the only thing, I mean, I like them, but don't like that they're free. Man, it does get pricey, doesn't it? They're going to charge $80 for this, whatever, 3 of them.
yeah.
Australian.
Yeah.
I feel like they've tried to blend the Savage Orcs with the Ard Boys, and it just something just doesn't float very well with
Yeah.
me. Like I'd rather see just Savage Orcs or Black Orcs all armored
Yeah, I
up, and
reckon
I'm
you're
not sure what they're
Yeah.
doing there. Like, are they getting rid of the
pretty
Savage
spot on there.
Orcs? Do you think, or no? What are they called? Bone Splitters? Is it?
Yeah, bone splitters.
Maybe they just get a whole
yeah.
different range. But and then it was funny that the I'm not really reading this, but I'm just going off what the guy was talking about. It almost sounded like these guys were Slayer, like dwarf. They were atoning or doing something.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a bit weird.
They were like some shameful, and now they're trying to be all like badass.
So I don't. That's just a bit weird. And but like I don't not like them, but I just it's interesting where it's going. I think I'd like the fully armored guys
Yeah.
rather than half naked orcs. But
And the other
yeah.
boys, they were kind of be bit like fanatics, weren't they? Kind of like they just with the flail
these guys.
sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd probably like these better. That's probably because they're slightly more armored with the helmets, but I don't know. But I'm guessing that's a dual kit. Would it be? Do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that
Yeah,
guy's
they
that
are.
guy.
Yeah, the arms.
It's usually their
corresponding.
yeah.
But this must be great audio as well. But people are going to put up with it. Yeah, and then the 10 Ard boys. I mean, they're cool. They're going to be big, but now I'm looking at these going, oh, cool. If this is what I liked about the base increase size rumor in the old world, because I'm like, if I could bring some of these guys back into the old world, I know that it's different, but some of them are cool.
I reckon they'd be big.
Really
I reckon they're
big.
going to be
really
big. Yeah.
So
compared to your old school Ard boys, like I reckon you're looking at probably almost a 25% increase.
Well, you know what I was thinking, and I shouldn't be thinking
At
this because
least.
it's a whole other army, is you do an Ard boy ogre army in the old school. Like these are ogres, put them on
you
4
could do it as
ogres.
Yeah.
And the Mournfang, Mournfang aren't in 6, but if you do an 8th, whatever it is, use those Gore Grunters. There's a lot of stuff. And then that big Gore Grunter thing you could use as one of those Stonehorn things.
Yeah.
Like you could do a pretty cool looking
you could.
army.
They
are
die
nice, just as quick
these
as
guys are
normal
really
ogres,
nice.
though. But anyway, that's the problem. But yeah, cool. So they actually are bringing the battle time out. Okay, cool. I must have missed that. Okay, I thought it was just the destruction or whatever it's called, that second book. But okay, cool.
Because the last, like the traditional Ard boys, they're quite like a bit plain. Like they look heavily armored and kind of, but those guys, or the new Ard boys, they just look they are very dynamic. They're very, they got all sorts of different poses and weapons and armor going on. Whereas your traditional Ard boys were very similar, I suppose, in their look. Whereas these guys are quite unique.
Yeah, nah, they look good. And I think someone said, I don't know if it was on this or somewhere else, but they could see conversions like turning this into a Blood Bowl team and stuff because they just you take some of their weapons off and stuff. They look.
Yeah, they do. Nah, they're good.
Yeah,
I rate them.
Good.
They're good models.
Okay, so that's that. I mean, when they went back into Space Marines with Horus Heresy, the only thing I'd say to this, I don't know what you guys feel of it. Like, so for those listening at home that are very close to home, there's a lot of people in our local tourney scene that just rate Horus Heresy. I bought the rules and I just never got into it because I just can't I'm not buying the big box set. And then now that they're introduced this, which is the battle group, I thought well, in my copious spare time at some point, and not for a while, I'd probably buy that because I think that feels like a good way to get in. It's not too big, and you'd get it. You'd get into it. So
it's
that looked pretty cool.
30 odd models. Yeah, maybe 40,
Yeah,
30 or 40
but the
models.
cool thing is, I mean,
It's
the
few there.
parallel here is whatever they're doing in Horus Heresy is very similar to what they're going to do in the old world, I reckon. Like, that's what they've already said. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're going to release, they're bringing back old stuff, but they're going to do a lot of resin. And then I
Yeah.
think they did say on that call that there will be some new plastic stuff as well. So I feel like,
Did they?
depending on this, they did actually say that, like new units, old units in plastic. Because someone, the guy said, "What's this in?" He said
Yeah.
resin, and he said, but I can't remember what the quote was, but I did
Yeah.
flag that in my head and went, "Oh, okay." Unless it was a slip, it sounded like we will see some new plastics. And I guess what I'm getting at is
Well,
how
that-
successful this is. Eventually, we might see this sort of thing. What's happening in Heresy is more and more is coming out plastic because it's actually doing well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it started
Yeah.
in Forge World.
Well, that's
and then
what
it's been
Josh-
transferred over to plastics, isn't it?
Yeah.
Horus Heresy.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Do you guys think, like, to me, the old world isn't Games Workshop. It's not Forge World, even though it's resin. Like, you're not going to go to the Forge World website to buy that. The figure we're going to get to, you're going to go to the Games Workshop store. It's just resin. Well, that's what. Well, I don't know. I mean, they're doing
I thought
old
it wasn't
world.
Forge World.
No, well, I don't know. Like Forge World to me is other stuff, whereas the old world will be a section on the gamesworkshop.com website. That's what I think.
That's what I reckon.
Yeah. Because that's where Horus Heresy is now, but you still go to Forge World if you want to get some of the weird Forge World Horus Heresy. But Horus Heresy is a front and center game, although it's like it's the secondary game. That's what I'm expecting. Again, who knows? But yeah. Anyway, cool.
I agree.
That's all we need.
But yeah, that new Pegasus leak or alleged new Pegasus leak. Well, that was plastic.
We
It
just
wasn't.
talked about. Yeah. Well, there you go.
So,
yeah. I guess it would make sense if they do one of those. We won't call it starter set, but the main set, which they did in Horus Heresy as well. So we might see a few new Tomb King plastics, some Bretonnian plastics with some existing ones in that box, maybe. So hopefully, we'll just see.
Yeah.
Cool. And then they did Warcry. I mean, I don't know anything about Warcry. Apart from everyone rates it as a game, so that's cool. But I just never played it. But these guys would fit very well into an ogre. Gorgons or Gorges?
Well, the Gorges,
I call them Gorgons. That's
Gorges, because you got yeah, I had a couple of Gorges in my old ogre army, and I think there's only two
like that.
Two different sculpts.
Yeah,
maybe
I
two
did
or three.
open that up before. There's only two or something like that.
Oh,
one
two,
of them looks a bit like this pose that I've got here, where he's like got one arm down, one arm up.
Yeah. So they're kind of like like you know how like ogres like to eat. So the Gorges, like it's kind of like they let that take over, and they kind of turn into this.
So they are ogres still. They're just not fat big ogres.
Nah. I think they live underground or something from memory as well. They I think that maybe that's why they're white. Live in a cave and just eat. I don't know. It's a lot.
Nah, but they'll be directly be able to port it straight into
ogre.
Any ogre army for that model, because that's what they
are.
Yeah.
I actually thought they were undead.
I thought
when
they were the
first
flesh
saw
eater corpse, whatever they're called. Yeah.
The crypt horrors.
Yeah, I don't know.
The big ghouls.
Okay,
Yeah.
Nah, that's cool. Oh, I forgot about these guys. They'd already showed these, haven't they? We saw some of these hunter dudes.
They are cool.
Yeah, no, I did see them because these would be cool for the Empire. The ones used for the
militia.
It's like I've got like 20 of them, little 5 skirmish archers.
Yeah, like little scout
what were they
things.
called? They weren't called militia, though, were they? There was militia, but then they were called
marksmen.
Marks. I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
The scouting
these guys.
Archer guys. Yeah, maybe.
You could even put the dogs in the unit. You could have like 3 of these guys and 2 dogs in a unit of 5. That'd be cool.
No, they are. They are pretty cool.
Just depends on the scale.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
They look. I mean, this is the thing, and I said this on Twitter or somewhere. Even though we've only got one figure shown to us, and it is a good figure, which we'll get to, they're
Yep.
just not disappointing with any of their figures. So whatever they bring out is going to be freaking awesome. So like, we just have to be patient. I know everyone's like starts losing their head because they didn't get everything they wanted, but it's like, dudes, just settle down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
cool. Okay, well, do we need to do Blood Bowl? Probably not. No, I mean, I like Blood Bowl, but I haven't played it for years. There's nothing in this vampire one that you could use, could you? Not really. I didn't really see it when it was streaming.
Not without heavy
Okay.
converting. But they've gone a very old school vampire. Like it's that real sort of von Carstein sort of,
Yeah. Oh, they look good, but man, they look either the
they look
bases
cool,
has
yeah.
got
They do.
bigger in Blood Bowl as well, or they've gone very small. They must have got bigger bases. I don't know. I'm going to skip unless you guys love Underworld. I don't even understand it, so I'm just going to go over it. And then we get to the one that we can finally talk about, which is the one figure we got, which is, man, I don't know. Well, I've been talking. What did you guys think of when you saw it?
I really like it. I really like it, actually. I think the whole... I know it's almost looks a little simplistic compared to the AOS releases that were just out and everything else. But I like that aesthetic. And I think it follows that slightly old, like Warhammer Fantasy style to a certain extent.
Yep.
It's slightly understated, but it's still really dynamic. It's still got lots of lovely little details. I really like the cape and I do wonder about the little pattern down there, whether that's actually a textured...
The pink.
Yeah, the pink little florally thing down there, whether that's a textured thing.
I got scared with this miniature. That was my reaction.
Actually freehand, but I suspect that's actually just a textured thing, and if you just put a bit of contrast on that or wash, it'll just pop out, and you'll be like, "Yep, done." Because I mean, they design these things to be really easy to paint these days, and I think that'll just pop out really easily. And I think like the unicorn's quite chunky, which I really quite like because it sort of gives a nice contrast to the damsel sitting on top. I like it. I like the staff and the horn too. Like, I don't think there's a huge snapping risk as long as you look after them. I don't know. I know. I know. You think it might? You think the resin might snap if you're gaming with her?
Yeah. Doesn't take much for a little knock here and there.
Yeah.
Look at her
bit
hair.
of a dice.
I
dice jumps up
on the first go. I love the hair. Like she's wearing one of those.
A little hair net.
Yeah. Far
netty thing. Yeah.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, my daughter. Like, so unrelated to this, because I think I've told you I've got like pretty much an entire Wood Elf army, like just unpainted. And I was like, what am I going to do with it? My daughter loves, both, we've got a horse and my kids like horses. And my youngest was starting to try paint years ago. And then, obviously I stopped painting, so she hasn't. But anyway, last week I started going, maybe you can paint a little bit. And anyway, so she's asked me today, would I pay her to paint? I'm like, well, if you can get up to a standard that's okay, which with these days with the contrast paints, not too hard.
Yeah.
And then I saw this and I went, oh God, yeah, if she could, I mean, they would love this figure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It is a little pony with on top.
Ultimately, that's all it is. I mean, it's just, even I love the foot coming out the bottom.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen the foot. Oh, it's a big
just
foot.
Awesome.
Oh,
I mean, this one looks a bit weird, the left foot, but the right foot. I mean, that doesn't even look like a figure. That looks drawn to me, which shows how good it is.
Yeah. And I like at the end of the stuff, I just noticed it's got a little swirly bit that almost looks elven.
This
like a wood elf. I guess the whole staff looks. I was looking at the tail end of the staff. You can see a little brown, sort of grey thing with a little S-shaped icon in it. That looks very wood elf. But the whole staff does actually look quite elf, which I like too.
Yeah, that's how they've painted the nose. I mean, the whole thing. Like, it's going to be a great. I mean, the unicorn probably always was a good contrast to the Bretonian army, like into visually, but you just didn't see it a lot.
No.
Well, they're quite expensive.
Yeah, that was rare as real unicorns. Is that what it was? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
the rules in the game just never quite. I don't know. It was hard to justify paying extra for it anyway. So
Yeah.
But yeah, the miniature
Yeah.
itself is hard to find to a certain extent. It'll be interesting to see what base size she's on. Like, it is a square base. Like in the past, because the rules for the basing, I don't know, it just seems like it hasn't really ever been quite clear. Like, she would fit in a unit if she was on a 50 mil base, because then she would take up 2 cavalry guys.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't benefit the unit that much. And often you were better off just on a horse, really, rather than taking up too many spots for extra fights.
Yeah, because they're not known for their attacking abilities, are they?
No, exactly. What I don't know how to interpret this is if we go to a triangular lance.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
What would happen in that? What are the implications there? Like, because I guess that comes down to the specific rules of the game. Would she have to be in a unit to have protection, or could she just be next to it?
I do feel like with the unicorn like this, I don't know. I feel like the right thing to do is she's off by herself somewhere, but her presence on the battlefield's actually helping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that sort of.
Yeah, I
she's on a
agree.
hill somewhere, and you hide her in a wood or something.
Yeah, I agree. I think that makes sense. She should be out in a forest or just off to the side. Absolutely. I think.
Well, it could be like. Oh, sorry. I was going to say. The Slann. He just goes off and.
does he?
He's got that ward save.
Oh, so he doesn't sit in the middle of a unit anymore.
The middle of Temple Guard.
Unless we're you might be talking 6.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The couple of games I've played recently, and this might be a 9th age thing as well. Could even be outside of 8th, but I think they had like a, for shooting and magic, like they had some ward save, so they could kind of just float around in the back a bit. But they weren't good in combat, so like you got one in combat.
I reckon she should be able to just like teleport between forests and stuff. She should just be able to pop out anywhere where there's a forest and just jump somewhere else. Because it's one of those things where it's like, the unicorn appears, where you most need it, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that'd be very
But I was just thinking, like, you look at that base and the unicorn's hanging out, like, by a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the front, you mean?
I reckon, yeah. So I reckon it's just going to be pretty hard, unless that's some sort of weird, like, it's actually not, like, as in hanging out as much.
It's
but
hard to say. You don't
from
see
that
the
picture,
base there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, exactly. But
true. It's hard to know what base it actually is because, like, that looks like a 50 mil base, but then the cavalry bases are probably going to get bigger. 50. So they might be like 30 by 60 or something. In which case she's no longer rank up. Unless she's on a 60 by 60,
for sure,
in which case it's a massive unicorn.
I get the feeling that it's potentially going to be a multiple of a cavalry, but who knows? But man, if that's 2, that's a big horse, isn't it?
Yeah, if that's a 60 mil base,
that's a big lady. That it was also a big lady.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Yeah, which is going to make dwarf all your everything else.
Maybe that's I don't know.
I think it has to be 50 big. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. In which case, they might not be intending for her to be ranked up with the knights, which I think would be totally like. It'd be weird too, because she'd probably be in the second rank. There'd be a knight in front of her, and she'd be there in the second rank, taking up the entire second rank, and then there'd be 3 knights behind. Like it just wouldn't like. Right.
Oh, especially you mean like if they do the triangle one.
Yeah, if they do the triangle, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
which I suspect that they are. We have one dude in front of her. I think if it was the regular bus, you could probably get away with it. But in the triangle, it's just gonna look very strange. But I think if they're putting out a miniature like this, I think they will probably make rules to make her quite playable, surely.
Yeah.
So that she's protected.
I mean, it's probably not the right. A great sample size, but I swear on Discord today, listening to the reactions, everyone wanted her. I'm just everyone. I'm buying it.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to find. I think it doesn't matter what they put out the first few ones like this. That even if they're special character or whatever, you're just going to buy it because you haven't bought a Warhammer fantasy figure in literally a decade.
I'm definitely more excited about this than either the other Bretonians that they've shown. This one, I'm actually. Yeah. The other 2 were nice too, but
you've got them in a way, don't you? Whereas you don't have,
those would be sort of like faces. I feel like this one, as much as there are other versions of it, I actually like this one more than the 2 previous ones they've released in the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually really
Oh,
like it.
Yeah,
It's
no,
nice.
I mean,
it
look,
is good.
these just look. I mean, from their time, the older ones, but it's not even close.
They
Is
were
Yeah.
it?
good in their time, but yeah,
Mm.
it actually.
I can't get over this
Yeah.
hairnet, man. That looks it's awesome. I mean, it's the paint job as well, but
It's just,
yeah,
but even the horse, like, you know how like GW horses have always had a bit of a
yeah.
cartoonish look to them. It's retained that, but it's sort of also a lot more realistic. So it's like this realistic cartoon, you know, like the old school had that big cheesy smile
Yeah.
going on, like
This thing,
that sort
this
of
cheeky,
5th, 6th edition.
or
Yeah,
this
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. Like, no, it's really not. That's a great mount. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Was there anything else to talk about with her, or you just what else was that? That was oh yeah, and then they just had the horse, which to me is we'll go on that in a minute. But yeah, what do you think about where do you think we're up to then? Seeing that in terms of has anything changed with your thoughts about release dates
In
or
terms
what
of
you're
release dates and stuff, I think
expecting, or
not really. That's probably about. I was hoping for a second model. To be
Yeah.
honest, I thought they'd have a Tomb Kings and a returning
Yeah.
model release. That's probably what I
Yeah.
was sort of thinking.
Yeah.
So I'd be disappointed there's only one, but the model they've released, I'm so happy with. I don't care.
yeah,
I'm very
it's
happy
fair
with it.
enough. And you
I
always said you thought this would be out middle of next year.
middle of
Is that
next
what you were
year.
saying?
Yep,
Mhm,
yep.
mhm.
And my thoughts haven't changed. To be honest,
Yeah.
I think we'll probably in the next 6 months probably have the starter pack previewed.
Yep.
And then we'll be looking,
Yeah.
a few months after that for the actual release. I think
Yeah.
we'll probably still get some other models
Yeah.
previewed between now and then, though. But yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
reckon
I said I was always hoping we'd see what we might be getting by the end of the year, and then at some point in the new year. Now I'm starting to fall away a bit more on that,
Yeah.
just because. And then I don't know if you saw in my show notes, I put that clip from Warhammer Community on Twitter when someone asked about when's it coming out, and they said the game is still a little way off from release just yet, but we'll be sure to keep bringing you news as the launch approaches. I can't see them saying that if it's like 3 months out.
yeah, no.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like that sounds like
It's really
to me
pushing
that
it away.
it's a while. Not
Yeah.
not technically a while. It's within a year we're going to have it, I think. But
Yeah.
and I think that's cool. I was okay with that. I just like to see what is coming. So
I think I think they just don't have a huge amount of manpower on it because they're just worried about over investing in it, and they've just got a slow trickle of stuff going.
Yeah.
It's just going to take a while.
The issue.
But that's okay.
Do you guys know when? Because I thought Age of Sigmar is due when? It's definitely next year. But do you know when? I mean, Andrew's probably the only one. Oh, you played, Josh, didn't you? When
Not
did
for a
they
long
usually
time.
drop Age of Sigmar versions?
I
Like
don't know.
during the year?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Asking
I
the
can't
wrong
remember.
man. I've dipped a toe
Yeah,
here and
because
there.
it's
That's
definitely
about it.
next year, and you
Yeah.
can tell because then they did the yearly General's Handbook. I feel like it's supposed to be around summer
Yeah.
next
They're
year.
talking about new
So I
edition.
don't
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's the only thing I worry about. It's like this either has to come out earlier in the year in terms of, March, April, or it's then going to have to sit behind Age of Sigmar. So
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused with how they're going to release it. Like, what's the scale? They're talking about 8 odd armies, but I don't think they're going to drop 8 armies. They're just going to be. I think it's just going to be a Bretonian Tomb King drop with the rules.
do you think it's going to be like
in
an Age of Darkness Horus Heresy box, like a big box? Because they said there's no starter box, but to them a starter thing is like a beginner thing.
Because then they redefined it that the Horus Heresy starter box wasn't a starter box in the definition.
So yeah, I mean they're just dumb. They don't understand what normal people think. They're so insular. But do you guys think we're getting a big box like that then?
Yeah, I think it's very
I reckon
possible.
there'll be something. Yeah, there'll definitely be something. Yeah, I can't say them just releasing random, miniatures. Like to get people in, people are going to want something to buy as like
and then
a
after
kit,
that, you might see like a ravaging horde. Even if it's that'll be on you'll be able to download it, but they'll probably try to sell you something as well, which would have all the army lists for the existing stuff.
I hope so.
I think that's what they'll do. Yeah,
open up maybe just through the web store the existing plastic kits with the new branding. Do you reckon that's it?
Well, there's plenty of miniatures out there. There's that many people out there
buying
who they
them. They want you buying theirs.
Oh yeah. But just to start off with, like they're probably like you said, like here's the PDFs, and then like as the other army books and stuff come out, then they're going to have these new miniatures
Yeah.
as well.
But they're going to have
So
to open up that Webster
like
with at least those 8 factions, whatever there is, with all those existing plastics. Correct? But
yeah.
even if it's made to order or what? I
Well,
don't
at
even
least
know.
some of
Like,
them. Yeah. I don't know. It's a lot of
It
miniatures
is.
to print for something that's going to be, if it is this quote unquote sort of, they're having a bit of a stab and feeling it out and don't want to commit so hard.
yeah, but they
It's a
probably
big
do have a
commitment
lot of
if
those
they're
existing plastics that they've pulled off, like the Cities of Sigmar ones. There's probably some of them, like they
just
rebrand.
sitting.
They pulled them initially off 8th and
Yeah.
repackaged them. So there might be a bunch
Yep.
of just sitting in the shelf that they need to rebox them again. I wonder
Yeah,
if
there could be.
there'd be
Yeah.
actual
Yeah.
sprues that have probably been through three reboxings.
Yeah.
Base to round base to
Well,
square
when you
base.
think about it,
Yeah.
Age of Sigmar first came out and they didn't have all these miniatures. Like,
Yeah,
they
true.
they had their you guys use your miniatures, we'll have PDFs for them, and then we'll slowly cycle through and then sort of make the rules that make your miniatures that you've got
Yeah,
obsolete.
what did they? I can't
You
even.
can
I
still
remember the
play
Games
with them,
Workshop
but they're
pulled all the
not
rules off,
competitive, sort of thing.
books off, and they had the signs up that just said Age of Sigmar coming soon, Age of Sigmar they plus. So you couldn't buy the rule book, which was good because it stopped
Yeah,
people buying
yeah,
the wrong rule book. But what they do with the boxes of Warhammer figures? They were
yeah,
just still there. I can't even remember.
yeah. I'm not sure, but I mean, like you can get Age of Sigmar rules these days for really obsolete
Yeah.
armies, but they're just not
No. Yeah.
competitive, really. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do that and they sort of, you know, have these new kits coming out, have their kits that you got to buy, and sort of, the ones that look ancient. I don't think they're going to obviously
Yeah.
reprint, but
Yeah, I see what you mean. There's
yeah,
going to be some miniatures that they're not going to put back up there. They're not going to do anything, but there will be a PDF for it. But then, yeah.
yeah. I reckon they'll slowly be like an
Yep.
army at a time, like every, that maybe they'll come out with 4 armies at the start.
Yeah.
Who knows? And then they'll trickle through new releases with new miniatures and
It's a pretty big undertaking to put out like a big Ravening Hordes general list for all those different factions as well. Especially if they haven't got quite enough staff to like properly
it's
play
not going to be
test them all
balanced.
and
There's
get them
no
all
way
balanced and
it's
that
going to
type
be.
of thing. Like that, that is a little bit of a concern.
I mean, look at 10th edition 40k. I mean, look, you don't have like it's hard to do. Like I've got no problem, but considering how big 40k is, you would think they would have play tested more than some of the problems that they're having with it. But it's totally expected as well at the same time. So I'm not being critical, but all I'm saying is when you compare that back, to Warhammer, the old world, when it's going to have virtually no one play testing it. Well, I shouldn't say that. We don't know that, but like the amount of people play testing is going to be a lot lower. I don't expect
assumption.
a heap of balance initially, but I don't care. Like we'll sort that out. We've sorted that, and we'll always sort that out. So, and Games Workshop, like you said, Andrew, before, or Josh, can't remember, like the other, they're listening, so they'll adjust stuff.
Yeah, all right, yeah. You'd think, considering all the controversy that surrounded destroying the old world, are they really just going to come out and make an absolute, shit fight of a game?
I don't think so.
I mean, it could happen. It could definitely happen. But you would like to think whoever's pulling the strings to get this, the old world redone, they're gonna do a good job.
Yeah,
You'd
I
hope
hope so.
Like
And
if,
it's just again, I'm probably just in a bubble, and I know I am. But the amount of YouTube, especially a lot of the XG dub ones that I watch, and every time you talk to them, even though they're sitting there, they're doing 40k stuff or whatever, but then you hear them talk and they go, well, actually my first love's fantasy. That's the one I got in and I love it. So I'm just like, they are all going to be on it big time. Because that's what they grew up with, like we did. So
I sort of like to think or hope that it's sort of not an entirely financial decision on their part, like especially when they're wading back into this whole IP mess about generic fantasy and stuff. That they're almost just doing it because they can't help but have support that because they know how popular it is and they just can't turn away that fan base.
Which is interesting if that's true, because it gives me a bit of hope.
I think it's an optimistic way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's cool. Hey, well, I mean, that's all the fantasy stuff. I mean, again, I'm not a big Horus Heresy person yet, but when they first showed the what's he called? Which Primarch's this? The Loop. What's his name? Fulgrim.
Fulgrim.
Getting them mixed up.
It's
I
cool.
didn't realize how
It is
big
cool.
he would have been, and then when I saw the actual figure from that, like his wings, I don't know.
That'd be a
must
nightmare to transport.
Oh god, yeah. But I wonder what people are going to do to this thing. That's yeah.
I thought it was one of the Age of Sigma, whatever the Dark Elves turned into. Like they're like those like the Snake Elf.
Yeah. I know
sort
the one.
of.
Yeah, like the Daughters of Cain ones. Yeah, you could do some stuff with this.
I thought it was one of. I thought it was
Did you
one
see
of
the
those.
faces hanging
My
off
first one.
his cloak or whatever.
They're
Slannesh
influence.
That is awesome. That is
it's
so
a good.
It's that is
like
such a good model.
I've never been interested in the evil like Chaos Space Marines as such, but when sometimes when you see certain figures, you go, "Ooh, maybe I should try something different that I've never done before." But
I thought it was Age of Sigma when I first, and then it said 40k. I was like, what? I didn't get 40k out of that at all. Like, no, it's great. It's a great model, but
yeah, no, it's cool. Actually, someone did you see someone who with the just going back quickly to the unicorn? Someone quoted straight away, "I want to see someone Nurgle that up." That'd be funny.
That'd be sacrilegious. Couldn't stand for that.
Cool. Anyway, that was the real. So look, I mean, it always a little. I want more, but at the same time, like I said, I've got enough painting to do with 6th edition and all the other stuff, so that'll keep us busy. But hopefully,
be patient.
It will.
Yeah, I think we know now that any of these big reveals are always going to be just what do you call
little
it?
reveals,
models. But which begs the question, if that's the right terminology, do you think we'll get a development diary update because it's been over a month now? Has it been over a month? Yeah. Oh, I can't remember. Maybe close to it. No, it has.
Sure.
That's a good question. Did they
is this going to tie us over for a month, or do you reckon they might do a rule one?
Did they do one the same month as Warhammer Fest?
That's a good point. I've got this thing that I wrote, but now I have to go back and check. Old World main factions revealed.
They did
probably not really.
I mean,
the closest were this one, bases, and then the Bretonnian Paladin were all within 2 weeks. And then, not sure.
Maybe they don't March.
I don't have the Warhammer Fest one on here, so I'd have to check that because it was the beginning of May. So it looks like they had one at the beginning of May and then an end of May. So they had about a 3-week gap, potentially.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's cool.
We'll just wait and see. Yeah.
Yep. No, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah. No, cool. Well, I mean, that's what we want to just get together tonight and just run through that. So Andrew and I are going to get a game in, Tomb Kings versus Dwarves again. And
couple of beers, be great.
I think the plan is we'll try catch back up next week, talk about that, and we're going to have Patty on talking about Moab, and some of her modelling and all that sort of background with her Tomb King. Well, not just Tomb Kings, her sculpting in general. So that'd be cool. Just just hear from her and learn a bit about. I've only met her once, so it's nice just to be able to get a one-on-one type thing and learn a bit about her.
Yeah, she's really nice and easy to talk to. Like I found, you don't get too many girls on the scene, and I had a little chat about her army, and she's very down to earth girl. It's great.
What did she come in CanCon? Didn't you say she?
Yeah, she was in CanCon. She did well.
She went pretty well, didn't she?
Yeah, she came
well.
out 4th or 5th, I think.
Yeah,
with her really cool ogre army.
The ogre army, yeah. So, it's cool. No, so that'll be next. That's on Monday, I think. So we'll get this will just be a quick episode out, and then we'll get another one out next week. And then I don't know, like we'll get a few, but we might. I don't know what you guys want to do. If we want to keep doing weekly, but we'll do it as long as we can do it, I guess. And then we'll keep everyone entertained as much as we can.
Yeah, cool. Sounds great.
Well, thanks for listening, guys. Like I said, we're 4 episodes in. Well, 3. We're coming up to 4. So if you are listening to us, please subscribe on your podcast software of choice and give us a 5-star rating, because obviously that helps us yeah, just get a bit of noise, bit of traction. We have hit 300 and something downloads, so that's pretty cool for just under 2 weeks out there. So that's been really good. Otherwise, yeah, pretty much oldworldfanatics@gmail.com if you want to send us, tournament coming up or anything like that, any type of sort of email, just send it to that. And then we're on our socials at Old World Fanatics on Instagram and Threads. And like I said before, Old World Fanatic on Twitter. So, yeah, always keen to hear from you guys. Like and subscribe to us, and we'll see you on the next podcast. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. See you guys.